everyone. Actually, good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. It's lovely to see you all here. My name is Icy. I'd like to introduce you... Actually, before we start, first we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present, and to the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. So my name's Icy, and I'd like everybody to introduce themselves. We'll start at this end.
Oh, let me look at my notes. Who am I? I'm Daku. I stream on Twitch, Daku TV. A big Elder Scrolls fan since I first discovered it with Morrowind. Started off streaming mainly to teach people the game because we need more local Aussies and New Zealanders playing ESO endgame so that I can get through those trials. And and I love doing charity events. That's one of my favourite things to do as well.
I'm Mac Lanetta. I also stream occasionally. I started playing Elder Scrolls with Morrowind. I was a little bit late on that one. I think it was about 2006 I picked that up, and then played pretty much every game since. Yeah, heavily into Elder Scrolls Online now. That's been a 5-year relationship.
Yes, and I'm Icy. I stream as well. I started with Morrowind also, and it's just like the Elder Scrolls has been there for years and years and years, and it's been part of the the landscape in my head for so many years. I actually liked Oblivion a lot. Martin's Martin's story was like really good, and the Elder Scrolls Online, it's occupied all of my gaming time since it launched.
Hello, my name's Angry Wolf. I'm a full-time streamer from Ballarat, so just like 2 hours that way, pretty much. The first game that I played was Skyrim. I don't know how many hours I've played that game, probably about at least 500. Yeah, that's honestly one of my favourite games. Obviously, Elder Scrolls has come in as well, and that's definitely my main game, and just love playing it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rich Lambert. I'm the creative director on ESO. And I have been playing Elder Scrolls games since Daggerfall. And working on them since Oblivion. So it is definitely a passion and something that I really appreciate. Seeing all these people here that also love the things that we work on. So it's really awesome to be here.
Oh, I just want to...
Enough said.
I was just tired and wanted someone to have a seat for a moment, but my name's Noel. I go by Fury76. I'm one of the Bethesda community managers here in Australia. I have been playing also since, my first encounter with Elder Scrolls was Dragonfall, once again showing my age. Probably my favourite was Skyrim, and now I get to work on all the Elder Scrolls franchises, including the incredible Elder Scrolls Online, which you haven't played it yet, you should check it out.
Amen.
Yep.
I'm not being pressured, it's fine. And yes, and I'm always sort of around for the community and taking care of things, and the passion of the Elder Scrolls community, both online and offline, is absolutely amazing and something I enjoy supporting so much. So thank you all for being so supportive.
And I'd just like to say from the TamrielDownunder crew, Noel is a hero, and you all should know it. So, yes, we know.
No.
Oh, God. I love you all.
Angry Wolf, what's your favourite? Well, you've said, why is
Yes.
Skyrim your favourite test game? Well, sorry, maybe Elder Scrolls Online. Why was it your first love?
Working as like a 16, 17-year-old, coming home, just playing Skyrim, just because of like the pure immersion in that game is incredible. Just like you have the side quest and the main quest and all that, but at the same time, you can just look around and just the pure like immersion. It's amazing. Just the graphics. Even though I had a really, really crappy laptop, like it was incredible. Yeah.
And Noel, you said Skyrim was your favourite. Why was it your favourite?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favourites. I'm actually torn between Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online, to be honest. Skyrim has a bit more of a place in my heart because I've played it on so many platforms. For me, hey, look, if they bring it out on PS5, I will happily buy it again and I will play it again. I have played it on Skyrim. I've played it on VR. I actually created a set of horns to go on my PSVR headset, so custom built one based on the artwork. But for me, the thing that got me with Skyrim was the trailer. That initial trailer, the music coming up, talking about the lead-in, going back to Oblivion, you see all those little teasers in the wall of Alduin, and getting into the game itself, the story was so incredible and gripped me so quickly. Paarthurnax as a character was phenomenal to me. Yep. If you kill Paarthurnax, we can't be friends, I'm sorry. That's right, big call, but I'm sorry. But the other side of that is the Elder Scrolls Online is essentially taking all those NPCs characters, making them real people. And you can interact with these incredible individuals, like the guys here from TamrielDownunder have created such a wholesome and incredible community, the cosplay community in Australia, who also play Elder Scrolls Online, replicate their characters in real life. The armor sets they have, they make them again. But it's just, for me, the storyline, the world itself is crafted so beautifully across both those games. And yeah, it's just everything about it I love so much.
Mm-hmm. So, Rich, apart from the Elder Scrolls Online, what's
So
your
I'm not
favourite?
allowed to pick Elder Scrolls Online?
No,
So what you're saying?
that's
That's
fine.
a bit of a loaded question.
What's your favourite TES game?
So Morrowind was the first Elder Scrolls game that I really, really dug my teeth into. I loved how alien the world was. Oblivion is probably going to be the one that always has kind of the soft spot in my heart, mainly because that was my first chance to be a part of building Elder Scrolls. And I think that what Noel was saying, the thing that I love about how the team always goes together and crafts the world is there's not a single source of truth, right? It's what you make of it. There's multiple perspectives all around, and it feels very much like a living, breathing, rich environment. And that's the thing that resonates with me, and I think with a lot of people that love Elder Scrolls.
Ducky?
Oh, my turn.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's very hard for me to pick. I started by buying a second-hand Xbox because I was very poor, and it came with games. And one of those games was the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. And I never heard of this. Maybe I should play 1 and 2 first.
No. How did that go?
I'm like, what the hell? I put it in, and as soon as I stepped into the land of Morrowind, straight off the docks there, I was like, ooh, this is awesome. The graphics were phenomenal.
The character animation's fantastic.
And
Flawless.
And so that captured me. And then we went on to Oblivion, and I fell deep into the lore there, which and the Thieves Guild. I love the Thieves Guild. It's just my sort of thing. Watch your pockets. Then I went back to Morrowind again and explored some of that lore there a bit more thoroughly, and then got sucked into alchemy and spellcrafting and that sort of thing. Spent many hours doing those sort of things, but to choose a favourite, and of course Skyrim, I'll have another story on that later, but to choose a favourite, I guess I'd have to say ESO, only because of the community and meeting these beautiful people and all the opportunities that have come out of that. We've had so many IRL events and that sort of thing out of it. It's more than just a game.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, Morrowind blew me away the first time I played it, because everything I'd played previous to that had been really linear games, and to be dropped in a world where you could go in pretty much any direction was like... But in terms of sheer playtime, definitely Elder Scrolls Online. It's going to be a little bit of a common theme. I have played a lot of Skyrim. I think I've hit, well, I feel like it's a lot, maybe I think I'm around 600 hours in Skyrim across the regular and the Legendary Edition. But my Elder Scrolls Online playtime would blow that out of the water. And that game took me from essentially a single-player gamer playing at home, maybe chatting to other friends about it, like at school or whatever, but essentially playing solo, to being a part of a community which has got so much more happening than just the game itself. And yeah, it's literally like changed my life. I started streaming after so my first PAX was PAX East in 2017. Shout out to Miss Biz as a Canadian streamer that convinced me to go. And that PAX inspired me to start streaming, and that was kind of my inroad into the community. And, now I know all these amazing people all over the world, and, they're like a family now. So, yeah.
Hashtag #ESOFam.
Yeah. This isn't an Elder Scrolls Online panel, but we do love the Elder Scrolls Online.
It's the latest iteration, so
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of audience participation. If you have played any Elder Scrolls title, can you stand up or raise your hand if you need to stay
Just raise
sitting
your
down?
Hands.
Everybody's raising their hands.
Everyone's raising their hands. Thank you.
Who's not?
Can we participate? I want to participate.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. If you've played Blades, put your hand down.
I'll keep them up.
Oh, wait, keep them up for the moment. Yeah, everybody keep your hands up for the moment. If you played Blades,
Put your hand down.
you can always shout out. If you played Blades, shout out, then put your hand down.
Yeah.
Whoa, good. Have you played Legends? Shout out, put your hand down. Yes, good. More people should try Legends. It's actually outstanding.
I know some good
Very
streamers
disappointed
too.
in you. Have you played Elder Scrolls Online? Yep. Oh, good. Excellent. Alrighty. Skyrim. Oblivion. Oh, we still got some hands left. Morrowind. Yep. Okay. Basically, when you run out of games that you've played, so put your hand down. So Redguard. One.
Wow.
Oh, how many hands up? Put them up really high so I can see them.
There's
Hands high.
Three left.
I think that's probably pretty good because Redguard is hard to get hold of.
They might
So
be in
can
the wrong
we
panel.
have three small, medium prizes to go?
Medium prizes?
Yeah. Oh, it is now.
Well, there you go. We'll play it,
That's
people. Come
true. That's okay. Three left. Can we hand out 3 prizes, please, to those fine people? Maybe if we could get an enforcer to grab those for us, if that was possible. So just keep your hand up until somebody comes up to you.
Specifically an enforcer with a prize.
Specifically an enforcer with a prize. Yes, no, that's right. Okay, let's talk about the best fan creations that you've ever seen. So it's either one that you've done yourself or one that you've seen somebody else do. And fan creations, I mean, everybody, like, we're talking things like, and pretty much everybody here, maybe you've written a story, a backstory about your character. Maybe you've done some artwork about your character, or what your character looks like. Maybe you've made a costume. Maybe you've made a mod for Skyrim or Morrowind or one of the earlier games.
Hey, I see.
Yeah,
What about people who've maybe gotten a tattoo?
I was getting to that.
Oh, just mentioning.
I was getting to that, but yeah, I just wanted to see if anybody else, apart from one particular person on the panel, has an awesome fan creation. Daku?
Me?
Yeah. Any fan creations that you're...
That I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Well,
Either that you've made yourself or that you've seen the community produce.
well, I made my stream intro based on the Wrathstone.
Oh, that's
15
true.
minutes of
Yes.
it, yeah.
Yes, I was very proud of that. It's a 13-minute animated intro because everyone's stream intro seems to be a still image and some music, and I'm like, let's make it exciting.
It's really exciting. I haven't seen it. It's like, oh, I'm so psyched for this stream.
And then I come on and they're like,
Only on Sundays.
Oh, we give her a prize. Yeah, we give her a prize. Yeah.
Yeah, I think whose comment was that one?
Who was that?
Put your hand up.
One of the
Oh
prizes?
yes, prize, please. Yeah.
Can someone run the prize up, please?
And now we're
I love it.
Oh, here we go.
encouraging
Yeah, she's
heckling.
coming down.
heckling the panel gets
That was
Has to
prized.
be
gold. Give her a round of applause,
quality
people. Come on.
Heckling only, please, yes.
There we go.
Does anybody else, apart from Rich right just this second, have a good example of a cool fan creation?
I do.
Yes?
So, and this is actually one that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and I was sort of involved in this creation. There's a community group here at PAX called the First Church of the Holy Sweet Roll. Some of you here will know about it. This thing started as a promotion we were doing to give away sweet rolls to celebrate Skyrim HD here at PAX. We're giving away 1,000 sweet rolls a day. So for 3 days of PAX, we had 3,000 of these little cardboard boxes, the shape of like little square shape, about this big, sweet roll on top, branding on the side, the stats for a sweet roll on the front. It was awesome. We were giving them out, and we were concerned about them just being left landfill and stuff like that. And we noticed that boxes weren't appearing anywhere around the floor. And we're getting curious. And then we heard about a group that was getting these boxes and gathering together to make armour. And I was like, all right, this is cool. So that was the first day. The second day, people were actually purposely they were taking the sweet roll out of the box and giving them the boxes. So they're getting these boxes given to them, and they're making more armour, more elaborate stuff. And they started building something. I didn't know what it was. Then on the third day of PAX, I'm getting, this is like very, like, almost like religious now. On the third day, on the third day of PAX, I'm actually in this exact room about to do a streaming, about to do a panel on retro gaming. I get a phone call from a gentleman who actually runs PAX here in Australia called Guy Blumberg. Some of you may know him as Yug. And he calls me up and very frantically goes, "No, you have to get the queue hall right now." I'm like, "What's up? I'm about to do a panel." He's like, "Get here now." I'm like, "God, something's on fire, something's wrong." Now, I'm not built to run, but I hauled myself down the queue hall as fast as I possibly could. I walked through the main door, I turn left, and all I see is this spire made of sweet roll boxes that is nearly touching the roof in the queue hall. If you're in the queue hall, you know how tall that place is. And all I hear is about 40 people just chanting, "Sweet roll, sweet roll." Yug then comes up behind me, pushes me in the back and goes, "He's from Bethesda." And I go, "Oh." This is how I die. They all turn and face towards me and start chanting at me, "Sweet roll, sweet." So much to the point now, my name in the church is the Holy Sweet Noel. But from that, they have spawned this incredible thing called, it was originally the Cult of the Sweet Roll. Now it's the first church of the Holy Sweet Roll. They've been at PAX every year since then in some capacity. The second year we brought more boxes for them, they made a mini spire. Last year we gave them the Sweet Roll pins to give away. And this year we did a very special announcement. Actually, Rich, you want to tell them what that announcement was we did the other night?
Yeah, we told them that in the future,
Yes.
we will put something in Elder Scrolls Online that references that group.
But to me, that level of community passion and engagement, and that to me is pure community at its finest. It started off as a joke, and it's grown to the point where it's actually expanded to the US. And no, it was amazing. There was a light on top of the spire as well. It actually had lanyards, and they went through, I don't know how much duct tape you did to put that thing together. 4 rolls of duct tape to put that thing together, but it was amazing, and it was purely community driven. We had no part in it at all. This was a pure community thing that we have supported and loved ever since then, and that to me right there is my most favourite and precious community memory around any Elder Scrolls game.
If you're from the Church of the Holy Sweet Roll, represent, stick your hands up.
Praise the glaze.
Yeah.
Praise the glaze. I love it.
That's lovely. No, that's okay. Let's move on because I don't think we're topping that one. Actually,
Yeah, I can't
we're
do that.
moving on.
I'm sure something can top it.
Oh, yeah,
So,
something can top it. Yeah.
Who else has who has a tattoo from the Elder Scrolls Online or the Elder Scrolls in general?
Any Elder Scrolls tattoos? Come on.
Who's got one?
One.
Can you show us? Are you able to show us?
Let's keep it G.
See right there, he's got Oblivion there.
You may
Oh,
not.
there you go.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
Nice.
Oh, very
What have you got?
nice.
I'm doing the inside of an Elder Scroll as a full back tattoo.
Wow.
Progress,
Yes.
so I haven't started taking photos of it yet.
That's right.
Nice.
And you definitely can't show us here, so that's fine. We'll take your word.
No, that's
for it.
fine. But can we
We'd
get
love
2
to see it.
prizes for these 2 people?
certainly
Who've
can.
got Elder Scrolls tattoos?
If anyone else wants prizes, just tattoo us up the road.
Tweet us a picture when it's done.
They got a 1 o'clock opening, so
So, as you may be aware, somebody else on the panel was, let's say, encouraged to get a tattoo. And we'd like to show you a video that Bethesda put together.
Oh, you're going to show the video?
Oh, of course.
All right.
It's fine, Rich. So good.
so this is the first time everyone's actually seen this. So
I
Yes.
only shown,
Yep.
I only shown once before at a party the other night, so you guys are seeing this.
Exclusive.
I got a tattoo because somebody had the bright idea for a little bit of a gimmick for our Twitch announce. If we get 100,000 people show up, I would get a tattoo. At the time, we thought there was no way that's gonna happen. Like, that was 2.5 times what we'd ever had before, so I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident, that's not gonna happen, but we'll do it and we'll see what happens.
Rich, I'm sorry to say this, but we've already reached that.
We already reached it?
Yeah, we already reached it.
Holy cow.
So have you
wow.
ever gotten a tattoo before?
No, I haven't. I'm blown away. I thought that was a really
You-
huge
you-
number. It is. I'm a little nervous.
I've only gotten 1 tattoo in my life, and I passed out from the pain.
Oh,
So good luck.
You're getting it on your leg?
Yeah, I want kind of like the whole sleeve.
Okay, point of interest, kind of like going around like that, like
Right.
all the main areas that are seen from different angles.
We weren't even live yet. The trailer
yeah.
we're all like, he's already got a tattoo. He doesn't even know it.
The first day was definitely nerve-wracking. Not terrified, but I was very, very nervous. The community team showed up, so Gina and Jess were there. My wife was there.
Transferring the stencil, which is a line drawing, onto his leg.
Very cool.
My guidelines for the tattoo, and then we just start tattooing after we get that perfect.
How long did you all work together on the design of this before today?
When I talked with Lydia, the very first thing we did in our first session was she brought out the ESO art book from launch. And she was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I cherish this. And I just knew that that was the right person right now.
It's like a treasure trove.
Oh, it's so awesome, yeah. I really want this to be a timeline of firsts.
Okay.
This is 12 years of development for me. Each element on my leg is very special, has meaning to me. Molag Bal, who's kind of front and center there, he was the first story we ever told in ESO.
It's time. You can still run.
No, you can't.
No.
I saran wrap this foot so it'll slip. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Rich is on Twitter, everybody. Send him your support. Send some hearts. Send love. Send hearts.
I have Caligrantide on there, who is the first dragon we were ever able to put in Elder Scrolls Online. That was really exciting for us. The Oblivion logo down at the bottom, that was the foundation of my career at Bethesda, was working on Oblivion. So it all ties together into these series of firsts. And then on the back and the sides, it's the firsts that we've had in terms of chapters. Elsewhere, Somerset, Morrowind, all of those are there because they are special to me, and important other elements. I have each of the Alliance logos. Why is there a maple leaf on the back of my leg? That is coincidentally also off-brand, and that's there because I'm Canadian and I have to represent. You know, I've been working on ESO for 12 years now, so it is something special to me, and I want to absolutely do it right.
And now you have to do it.
Now I have to do it apparently, which is, holy cow. What started off as kind of a joke has turned into this really, really amazing experience. You know, working with Lydia on this, she's super talented. She has this very strong vision of what she wants, and she's lightning quick. Like just watching how over time it goes from outline to shading to then cleanup and polish, and it just super, super fun experience. I am so excited about how it turned out. It is everything I wanted and more. One thing that this experience has taught us is when you throw down a challenge to the community, they show up, and they show up in force.
I think the 90,000 plus people that came here to give you a tattoo
Yeah, they did do that.
want to know a little bit about necromancy.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
So, necromancy and Elder Scrolls lore.
Thank you very much for sharing the video exclusively with an Australian audience first, because certainly nobody, apart from perhaps in Bethesda, nobody's really seen this yet, apart from us. We actually get a world exclusive to actually see that video, so...
There's actually very few people within the company that have seen that video.
Wow,
So.
okay. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So shout that out on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram that you were first, exclusive in the room. Rich, if you don't mind, would you be able to parade your leg? Just very quickly.
Walk the carpet?
Yeah, pretty much.
No
I
pressure.
thought we need some
No pressure.
runway music or something.
Yeah.
And how many hours was it, Rich, again?
It was 30 hours.
Wow.
For the first tattoo.
First tattoo, yeah.
30 hours, yeah,
If-
for the first one.
If that's not commitment, do the same photo of your butt, it's fine.
We're not looking at your butt.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, well, the good thing about in Australia, you can show it off properly because most people wear shorts, so it's fine. Shorts
just
are
rich
always
in general.
appropriate. So. Thank you.
Now the next tattoo will be 60 hours.
Yeah. And will you grow it? Will you grow the tattoo into another section, like as a new chapter is released? Or not
That's
sure.
a loaded question.
That's a loaded question, yeah. I don't know right now. I mean,
Yes, 200,000.
when like I said in the video, when we originally kind of thought of this, it was more of a, well, this isn't ever going to happen, so I don't have to worry about it. But then when I started going through the process, I started trying to figure out, like, what are the important parts of my life on Elder Scrolls. And that's kind of what this was. And so if I come up with more, then sure, I'll add to it or go to the other leg or do whatever. But I don't really have any other kind of things right now that make me want to put them on my leg.
Mm-hmm. So this panel is called 25 Years of the Elder Scrolls Online. So I just want to see, sorry, I knew I was going to do that. 25 Years of the Elder Scrolls. I knew I was going to do that. So I just wanted to ask the panelists, how has gaming within the Elder Scrolls franchise changed for you over the time? Daku?
Massively. I mean, life continues to go on and changes quite a bit. So, like I said, the original one was Morrowind, so I'd come home and sit down on my Xbox in the lounge room and play on my small CRT TV. And I lived by myself at that point. And one thing that gaming in general, like going back, even though I didn't play the earlier Elder Scrolls at that point, I have played a few since. Gaming in general, what a lot of people that don't game would potentially think that gaming is for introverts and it isolates people, whereas it actually did the opposite. My longest and oldest friend I met because we both had an Amiga 500, and we traded games. We'd get on our BMX and ride to each other's house and see what games we had and trade and that sort of thing. And that didn't change so much as an adult. The Elder Scrolls was my brother and I connected heavily with that, and we played that together. He'd play one way, I'd play another way. We tried different things in the story and developed that out. And then into Skyrim, my Skyrim story that I mentioned earlier. Skyrim was the thing that made me survive early parenthood. So my son was born, and he's very large and lanky right now, but he was a little chubby baby who liked to feed, and he was on a schedule. We had to try and keep him on a schedule. So my wife would go to bed very early, and I'd do the late night feeding, which was at 1 a.m. And then I'd go to work a bit later and come home, and that was the cycle. So that time in between, that downtime of silence, was where I unlocked every single achievement in Skyrim. It was so that's a very memorable moment. As soon as I hit 100% of the achievements, and I do recall waking up on the couch with the controller on my chest many times.
Matt, do you have how's it changed for you? Like gaming in general or Elder Scrolls specifically?
Yeah, well, like I said, when I first started playing Elder Scrolls, I was, I was a kid really, but I was playing at home. My brother would sit behind me and I'd get annoyed and go away. And I guess the only kind of social element was, interacting with friends, maybe talking about it outside of that playtime. And I guess that was the same all the way through, right until Elder Scrolls Online kind of happened. And even that, I was really reluctant to kind of get involved on. I was like, I have to buy the game and then I have to pay to keep playing it, and it just doesn't really sound like something I want to do. But I got severe FOMO towards the very end of the pre-order, and started playing with, I think this is a really common story, started playing with a bunch of IRL friends who all stopped playing about 3 weeks after launch. And then I played it on my own for a really long time. I just played it the same way I'd played all the other games. And then I remember I was in Cyrodiil, which is the PvP area, which is not my thing at all. So I don't really know why I was there. And just someone happened to ask if I was in Australia. And I was like, yeah. I was like, do you want to join this guild? So I joined the Blades of Vengeance. So shout out to the Blades, who are a still running oceanic, so Australia, New Zealand, primarily social guild. And then I went from being like a lurker in text chat to chatting. I still remember my first voice chat experience, which is just the weirdest thing I'd ever done. And it just grew from there. And now it's this hugely social part of my life. In fact, I probably spend more time interacting with people that I've met through the game than I spend actually playing the game. And yeah, like I said, it's sent me to PAX East twice. And Pax Aus 3 times. I'm from Perth, so I'm not local to Melbourne. So this is my 5th PAX that I've been to, and every time I come to PAX, there's more people that I meet. So yeah, it's completely changed, I guess, how I think about games and the people that play them, and the value of community in that. Yeah.
Noel, I mean, you collect retro games. How is gaming? So you've actually got almost a academic view of how games have changed. How do you think gaming, and specifically Elder Scrolls, has changed over the last 25 years?
I have no idea. No, for me, like with my first game being Daggerfall and playing it on, I think it was like a 4860X, which is like a really old PC, and by current standards, my watch is more powerful than that thing. Playing back then and having to, having to go to a friend's house to play. I didn't own a PC. I had to go to their place and play it. Very much a single player adventure. They gave you a storyline, and obviously graphics back then, you'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing, but by current standards, not that great. You had to use a lot of imagination back then. And no matter how good your imagination was, it probably didn't quite convey what the game creators were trying to show you or trying to embody in their game. So seeing how games have evolved from that point of view, from that sort of very basic style, even like the old text-based adventures, like going away from Elder Scrolls for a second, how they've evolved into these incredible storytelling machines, and the immersion and just the level of passion you can see being put into the games, to the fine details in there. That's definitely one for me, but it's also, I suppose, the way the games are played as well. So, for example, Skyrim I've played on 360 and PS3, PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PSVR.
Oh, no Alexa?
What was that?
Alexa? No Alexa yet?
I don't have Alexa, so if I did, I would, trust me. But seeing it also move from the single-player experience to the multiplayer experience with things like Elder Scrolls Online. So the incredible single-player experiences like things in Skyrim, which I truly enjoyed, and being able to play that same game in a multiplayer environment where you can spend time with your friends online, you can actually have those engagements with people, just having it go from, you can play single player if you want, but multiplayer is there if you need it or you want to do it. And just seeing the evolution of it all has been incredible. But yeah, that to me is probably the biggest step forward for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, Rich, I mean, obviously you've been in the game development industry for a long time. From a dev point of view, how have things changed in the last 2 and a bit decades?
I think the biggest thing, to keep it short and sweet, I think the biggest thing for a developer is now, instead of telling you the story, we can show you the story, right? Like that's the biggest difference, where it's no longer just reading text after text after text. It's, you go to the world and you see this set piece where and it's one of my favorite set pieces actually in ESO, where there's a cemetery and a headstone, and there's just a dog sitting there on the edge of the cemetery, at the stone, looking at the stone. And that tells the story right away. Like it sets the mood, it sets the tone, and then you as a player can go in and go, hey, I wonder what that is, and you can dig into that and you can find out a little bit more about it, or you can just make the story up in your head. And that to me is kind of the embodiment of game development now, where we get to show you as well as tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So also, Angry.
Yes. Hello.
You're probably the youngest person on our panel.
I am.
Yeah.
What were you doing 25 years ago?
Well, I wasn't. I kind of wasn't here.
Her dad's in the audience,
My
so
dad's
let's
in
not
the
ask.
audience too.
So how have things changed for you? Because you're looking at a shorter time frame, but I would think that there's almost been as much change in how games are played, even just since Skyrim to ESO.
Yeah, just off the topic of just the ESO as well. Like, I remember me and my sister, like, being 2 years difference. You remember like the big bulky TVs, not like you haven't got no flat screens anymore, or anything like that. So like these big bulky like TVs, and because I had we only had one PS2, we had 2 controllers, so we had separate rooms. So every month we'd take the big bulky TV into the other room.
This is great.
And then, I'd be able to play it only during, certain times because it was in her room, So I was almost like a schedule. And, the month was over, you'd be like, trolley in, next room, keep playing it. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes we used to play together. I think the first game that we ever played was like, it used to be like one of the Star Wars games. I think it was like Battlefront 2. Yep, Battlefront 2. And yeah, that was fun, but used to always end in arguments and all that. So, but yeah, just like that sense of the big bulky TVs to now just they're like that small, and you can have multiple, not just one. So yeah, that sense of gaming has changed dramatically within like the past 10 years, 15 years. So yeah.
Gotcha. No, absolutely. So I just want a bit of a show of hands. I just want to kind of find out who plays on what platform, really. Does anybody here play on EU? Like on the EU? Sorry, if you play ESO, sorry, very specific. Play on EU? Why do you choose to play on EU as opposed to North America? Like, is that a specific thing, or just had friends there, or?
At the time, I had a friend who was on the EU server, but she stopped playing, so it's basically just me and my roommate stuck on the EU server by ourselves. Because there's still no server.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, fair enough. Who plays on Xbox? Do we have some Xbox people? Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
Is this
Excellent.
just Elder Scrolls Online or
Oh, sorry.
or
Either Elder Scrolls Online or any of the other games. So I'm sure who still plays Skyrim regularly, like is active. Ooh, nice, excellent.
My people.
Steam.
And who plays on PC? Cool. PC Nation. Who plays on PS4? Excellent. Who out of the people who play on PS4 play Elder Scrolls?
Which one?
Elder Scrolls Online. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
All of them.
Elder Scrolls Online. Can we? How many little ones do we have here?
For the Xbox?
No, just the bags. How many ones do we have?
Tension is palpable.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Secret discussions.
For the PS4 players.
PS4 players?
Yeah, keep your, those PS4 players who play Elder Scrolls Online. Oh, looks like there's
There's more now.
couple. Oh, there's more now.
As soon as the prizes come out.
You see the prize and
So
suddenly
we have 5. So the people who had their hands
rest
up
of
nice
you.
and tall before.
we want
All
to
the
see
hands go up
PSN
higher.
codes.
Gosh. All right, I'll leave it up to the enforcers. Whoever's
Yeah.
closest to the edge.
That
Maybe.
that way you can blame them, it's not on us.
There looked like there were 5 there before. So
Now there's 20.
now there's a few more.
You see the free stuff and
very
suddenly
good.
everyone's a PS4 player.
Yeah. Is there anybody in the room who doesn't and has never played an Elder Scrolls Online game, but they've been dragged along by their friends or family?
Dad.
We're missing hands now. So.
Well, yeah. Then welcome to the community, and I think you should go out and get yourself a copy.
Oh, don't worry. I'll get Dad on it. It's okay.
Okay, that's good.
Time
Excellent.
to get out that trolley and wheel it into Dad's room.
Yes.
I can't believe you had a timeshare TV, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Rich, obviously you're the lead creative developer, and you've been on Elder Scrolls since it was conceived, really, wasn't it?
On ESO, yeah.
Yeah. What's something that you would have liked to have had in the game, but has just proved too technically challenging, like with the resources that we've got technical resources we've got available, either the actual hardware or the software, or what we're able to write.
At the time,
or now as well. So
we I desperately wanted to get dragons in the game.
nice. Yeah.
And we used to have serious internal debates of who would win in a fight, a Daedric Prince or a dragon, and like back and forth all the time. And we just couldn't do them right at launch. And that was one of the reasons why I was so excited about this year, was we were able to get dragons finally in there, and worked with Bethesda to make sure that when we added them in, we were doing the lore a service.
Now, not asking for any details about anything, but is there anything that you would love to see in, but you're basically you're just saying no at the moment because it's not technically feasible, so it's not even on the plan remotely, but you would have loved to have done?
Where do I start on that?
Wildest fantasies.
There's lots of those. Players are very excited about the concept of spellcrafting. That was something we talked about a long time ago, and that's not really in the cards right now.
Yep.
We hear a lot about the cross-server play, and that's something that's, out in the forefront right now. That one's not really on the roadmap right now either, for a host of technical challenges. Our game's 12 years old at this point.
Yeah.
But those are all things that we would love to dig into and really be able to spend some time on, but they just don't make sense right now.
Yep. No, that's interesting. Where's your favourite place in Tamriel?
My favorite place in Tamriel, outside of Maelstrom Arena.
Oh, okay.
Titan Pain Train.
No, I really love Hrothgar, Orsinium.
Yeah.
I love the architecture. I love the biomes. I love the ice and snow, and just that feel that Orsinium has. It makes me kind of feel like home, which is great. So yeah, I love that area.
Okay. So back to the panel more generally, or as opposed to the famous person that you've come to see. Is there any time a TES game has helped you through like a really difficult situation that it was somewhere where you could escape to? Ducky, you've already shared when your kid was a little. Matt, was there some time when...
Oh, well, now we're going to get all serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go back probably, I'd say maybe the middle of 2015, so we can go back a few years, serious relationship breakdown, and I think I guess I ended up in a space where I didn't really have a lot of energy to kind of go out and do anything really, and I kind of got isolated. I just moved to a new house. It was in like a new area that was being built up, so I was like physically isolated as well as I guess sort of socially. But playing ESO, I guess, enabled me to kind of connect with people in a way that was fairly easy for me. I didn't have to kind of muster the strength to go out and see people. I could just sit down at my computer, I could log in. You could just chat to people via text, or you could put on your headset and listen, but not necessarily like switch your mic on. And that, I guess that went on for a really long time and kind of grew to the point where now some of those people that were once sort of strangers are now family. And I guess I don't necessarily feel like I need that support in the same way as I did back then. But it really helped me, I guess, get through that time where I wasn't necessarily able to physically see people, but I definitely felt like I had people out there that had my back. And that had nothing to do with the game, really. But the game was a channel through which I was able to meet those people, and all the rest of the stuff that was happening in my life didn't matter. So, yeah.
No, for myself, when Elder Scrolls was released, my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And that was a big shock. It was a big change to the world. And Elder Scrolls was just somewhere like I could just go, and I was somebody different there. That was fine. That when I was in Elder Scrolls, I didn't have any responsibilities, and there was I could just be somebody else, be somewhere else, and that was fantastic. And to be honest, like if it had happened earlier and it was Skyrim, that would have been great too. But or any of the other Elder Scrolls games, because they're so immersive. They wrap you up. They're like a huge, big Tamriel coloured blanket that you can wrap around yourself.
I wouldn't mind one of those. a Tamriel
Actually, that would be
blanket.
awesome, to be honest. Yeah. A doona.
What's the shipping cost?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a special place for me. Angry, do you have a story like that?
I think it would have been maybe last year. I was going through a bit of a rough time, and just the general community, even on Twitch, when streaming, has been like super supportive. So just in trials, just getting the community together, just for trials or dungeons or anything like that, was super special, and it helped not just me, but like other people who are going through a rough time as well. It's just there's that chance to just escape and be like what Icy was saying, just a different person, and just have no adult responsibilities and all that. So, yeah.
Does anybody else feel that way about any of the games that you play? Yeah. How about you guys? Noel?
Yeah. Definitely, actually, for me, I suffered from a mild stroke about several years ago, and lost 10% of the movement down the left-hand side of my body. So I couldn't afford to go through full physical therapy, so I used video games as part of my recovery. So I used things like Rock Band, Wii Balance, but also used Skyrim. The game had been out for about a year at that point. I knew it really, really well. It was a game I could play at my own pace, and it gave me a sense of control again while I helped rebuild my fine motor controls on my left hand and things like that. It was a familiar place. It was a very welcoming place. It was somewhere that I knew well from playing it for so long already. And it was somewhere where when I felt so frustrated in the fact that I couldn't do things normally for a period of time during my recovery, that I could just go into there and, similar to you guys, I could just escape into that world, into somewhere familiar, play the game at my own pace, and just sort of let all that frustration just wash off me, and just be like in a really happy place. And yeah, it also helped as it rebuild the fine motor skills I'd lost.
Absolutely.
Right. Oh, side note too, I actually met another gentleman who had a similar story to me. He had a very severe stroke and lost a lot of control, actually was paralysed for a short period of time, and he used Skyrim as his recovery tool. And he started doing 3D printing and a bunch of other stuff. He absolutely loves. We talk quite regularly. He's a really great guy. Who's here now, sorry.
Shout out. Yeah. Rich, is there any, I mean, for you, maybe it's a different position because it's your job. It's not your escape necessarily. What do you do to escape then?
I play video games.
Yeah.
Yes. No, games in general have a very special place in my heart, not only because I've been working on them for so long, but a lot of my best friends I've met, in other places and been able to go and visit them because of games. I met my wife playing EverQuest, and we've been married 18 years. So games in general are very, very special, and especially online games, where you can develop that sense of community and friendship and whatnot. And you can go and lose yourself in there if you want. You can be somebody who, you can be whoever you want, but you can also meet just absolutely amazing people and develop just fantastic friendships, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. We do have a bunch of both large and small prizes. The first 100 people who came through the door would have got a ticket. Do you all have your tickets? Yes. Okay.
Hold on to your ticket.
Are we going to announce the big prize or the small prize first and announce the big prize?
Let's do the small prizes.
All right, cool.
Okay.
We're going to build up.
So, how many do we have left? Actually, Noel, how about you just run this because you've got all the prizes next to you and you can
Okay, but
do as many bits as we've
How
got.
about I do this and then... What do we got?
So we have one medium prize. Oh no, what's this one? Is it medium or?
That'll be medium.
Yeah, medium, sure.
All right, one medium prize.
Actually, so this includes a poster that is signed by all of the Elder Scrolls Online devs. So it is very cool. Ooh.
Now it has fingerprints on it.
Ooh.
Very shiny, very pretty. All right, so what? Am I drawing it this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, if anybody has taken pictures today, feel free to tweet them at TamrielDownunder with no ER, just an er.
Or also Bethesda
Or
ANZ.
Bethesda_ANZ
Thank
as
you very
well.
much.
And Bethesda_ANZ on Instagram as well. And Facebook.
So our first winner is C49.
Bingo.
C49.
Come on down.
C49.
There were people that left
not.
before. So.
Okay,
Is there
go.
anybody here? No.
we got
No?
it.
Oh, redraw.
Oh, redraw. All
You
right,
go.
cool.
Yep. So you have 5 seconds to throw your hand up in the air and then redraw. So we'll move it through quickly.
I'm having flashbacks to the other night.
Yeah.
C47.
C47.
No, C47.
1, 2,
Nobody.
3,
1,
4,
2.
5.
Oh my god.
Redraw.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Well, hang around if
for
you
the
can
rest
at the
of us.
end,
Who
and the
has a
rest of us
ticket?
get a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. If everyone leaves, the last person here stands is going to get one. Sorry, I've got 2 tickets. So, okay. C31. Oh, come on. Yes. I'm just making sure you had a couple of runs. All right, so we have 2 big runner-up prize packs. So, do you want to run through the goodies in these ones?
Yeah, just.
So there's this one.
Oh, no, we don't. Just another one.
Oh wait, I thought those were one big pack. Oh god, there's tons left.
There's more.
We've got heaps, so.
Sorry about that. I
We
thought they were
might
one
have to
big
take
prize
this
pack each.
outside the way we're going.
Yeah, let's go quick.
So do that.
Quick.
All right, so this one.
No clapping.
Six
Clapping
uploads,
takes
so we'll
too
do the rest
long.
out randomly afterwards. Okay. So let's go. Let's find a different number. Let go. I just want 1 ticket. Come on. How hard is it to get 1 ticket? Okay. So C78, one of the latecomers. C78. Yes, here we go.
Hey.
Wait, I clapped. Sorry.
There you go. Thank you very much. All right. So now we're going to do the grand prize.
Oh.
We'll hand these ones out separately afterwards. We'll talk to people and stuff like that. But thanks to our friends at Gaming Heads, we've got something really special to give away. We have, now, some of you here have noticed that there's a bit of passion on the panel, and a particular person, regarding Elder Scrolls Online. What we have to give away now is a 1/6 scale Nord statue from the Elder Scrolls Online. It is very pretty, it is very big, and we're also going to ship it to you, so that's why we're trying to get it home from PAX. I saw a lot of concerned faces in the crowd, like, oh God, that's great, but I can't take it with me on the plane. No, we will ship it out to your address. Just come see me afterwards if you win. I'll get your details, and then we can ship it out to you. And who knows, maybe Rich will even sign it for you. Who knows? No pressure.
I will if you want me to.
All right. So, lucky one. Give me a drum roll, people. Give me something. Drum roll, big drum roll. Here we go. Yes. And the winner is Sydney. Sorry. Oh, winner is C07, one of the early people. Who's C? There we go. Round of applause. I will come see you afterwards. I'll come see you afterwards. I'll give details then. But yes, so I think that's all the prize. We'll give these out afterwards, everybody. But yeah.
So, thank you, everybody, because we'll need to clear the room for the next panel. But we'll hang around outside for a little while afterwards. We do have some other giveaways, so we will try and hand them out as we can. But thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate all your time today. Thank you for filling the room. It was lovely.